Have you ever felt like you were playing a role in someone else's story? Your lines dictated by expectations, your happiness contingent on applause that never quite seemed loud enough or long enough? Have you ever chased a horizon that perpetually receded, believing that the next achievement, the next acquisition, or the next relationship would finally complete a puzzle that felt like it was missing essential pieces? Perhaps you've meticulously built an external facade of success, only to feel a hollow echo in the quiet moments when the world wasn't watching. If these sentiments strike a chord, you're not alone in this intricate dance of human experience. We are born into a world that often pulls our gaze outward from the very beginning. Society, culture, even our well-meaning circles can inadvertently teach us to seek our value, our purpose, and our contentment in the reflections we see in others' eyes or in the tangible rewards the world offers. But what if this outward gaze, while natural, is only half the picture? What if the most profound transformations, the most unshakable strengths, and the deepest wells of joy are not to be found in the sprawling landscapes outside, but in the rich, often uncharted territory within your own being? Today we embark on a different kind of journey, an exploration into the transformative power of redirecting your primary focus inward. This isn't an invitation to self-centeredness or a retreat from the world. Instead, it's a call to cultivate a profound relationship with yourself, to understand the immense power of your inner world, and to build a foundation of character and understanding that can change, quite literally, everything. We will draw inspiration from the enduring insights of Stoic philosophy, a school of thought that has guided seekers of wisdom for millennia, showing them how to forge lives of meaning, resilience, and authentic happiness by tending to the garden of the self. And if you stay until the end, you'll discover an ancient parable that perfectly captures the transformative power we're about to unlock. Before we illuminate the path inward, let's briefly acknowledge why an over-reliance on external factors for our sense of self and happiness can be such a precarious way to live. When our identity is primarily shaped by external achievements, our job title, the size of our bank account, the prestige of our possessions, we build our house on shifting sands. These things are, by their very nature, impermanent and subject to forces beyond our complete influence. Economies falter, careers change, possessions break or lose their luster. If our worth is tied to them, our sense of self becomes equally vulnerable. Similarly, seeking constant validation from others places our emotional well-being in their hands. As the wise emperor Marcus Aurelius noted, how much time he gains who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks, but only to what he does himself to make it just and holy. When we are perpetually angling for approval, we may find ourselves compromising our own values, silencing our own inner voice, and living in a state of anxiety, wondering if we are measuring up. This external dependency can stifle our authenticity and lead to a life lived for an audience rather than from a place of genuine self-expression. The pursuit of fleeting pleasures or the avoidance of discomfort, if dictated by external stimuli rather than internal principles, can also lead us astray, keeping us on a hedonic treadmill that never truly satisfies. Furthermore, this constant outward gaze often leads to a life of comparison, a breeding ground for envy and dissatisfaction. We scroll through curated highlight reels of others' lives, measuring our ordinary moments against their extraordinary displays, forgetting the unseen struggles and the edited realities. This relentless comparison not only steals our joy, but can also divert us from our own unique path, pushing us to chase goals that aren't truly our own, simply because they seem to bring admiration or status to others. We end up running a race we never signed up for, towards a finish line that offers no genuine fulfillment for our own soul, because the entire endeavor is based on external benchmarks rather than internal alignment. The Stoics understood that true freedom and enduring happiness spring from a different source, the inner citadel of the self. This isn't about ignoring the world, but about ensuring that your core, your character, your responses are forged and tempered within your own sovereign space. They believed that constructing this internal fortress and cultivating this unshakable strength involved a dedicated focus on 4 foundational pillars. 1. The power of good character. At the heart of Stoic thought is the revolutionary idea that the highest good, The only true good is virtue. This isn't about piety in a religious sense, but about human excellence, the cultivation of integrity, resilience, rationality, and benevolence. These are not external accolades to be won, but internal qualities of character to be diligently developed. When you turn your focus inward to cultivate these aspects of character, you begin to build an unshakable foundation for your life. Integrity becomes about living in true alignment with your deepest principles, ensuring your actions consistently reflect your values, fostering a profound sense of wholeness. Resilience is the inner strength to face adversity, to learn from setbacks, and to bounce back with renewed determination, rather than being broken by challenges. Rationality involves using clear reason and sound judgment to navigate life's complexities, making choices based on thoughtful consideration and objective truth rather than fleeting emotion or misinformation. And benevolence is the active expression of goodwill, fairness, and kindness toward others, recognizing our shared humanity and contributing positively to the world around us. By focusing on being a person of strong character, your sense of worth becomes intrinsic. It's not dependent on whether you succeed or fail in a particular external endeavor, whether you are praised or criticized. Your value lies in your commitment to living with integrity, resilience, rationality, and benevolence. This internal compass provides stability and direction, regardless of the storms that may rage outside. Seneca put it beautifully. Virtue is nothing else than right reason. By aligning our actions with right reason and these core strengths, cultivated within, we find a steadfast path. 2. Mastering your mind. Another profound shift that occurs when you turn your focus inward is the realization of your power over your own perceptions and judgments. The Stoics taught that it is not external events themselves that cause us distress, but rather the judgments we make about them. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, stated, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." This is a liberating insight. It means that while you may not choose what happens to you, you always have a choice in how you interpret and respond to what happens. Turning your focus inward allows you to become an observer of your own thoughts, to examine the automatic judgments and beliefs that color your experience of the world. Are these judgments true? Are they helpful? Are they aligned with reason and virtue? Imagine someone criticizes your work. The external event is the criticism. One person might judge this as a catastrophe, a sign of their inadequacy, leading to feelings of shame and despair. Another person, focusing inward, might examine that judgment. They might see the criticism as an opportunity to learn, or perhaps recognize it as an uninformed opinion, or simply acknowledge it without letting it define their self-worth. The event is the same. The internal response, shaped by judgment, is vastly different. By consciously working with your judgments, you reclaim your emotional autonomy. You learn to pause, to reflect, and to choose responses that are constructive and aligned with your values, rather than reacting impulsively based on ingrained, unexamined beliefs. This is a cornerstone of emotional intelligence. Understanding the genesis of your emotions within your own thought processes and learning to navigate them with wisdom. As Seneca advised, the mind that is anxious about future events is miserable. By focusing on our present judgments, we can free ourselves from much of this self-inflicted misery. 3. Discovering your true self and purpose. The inward journey is also a journey of profound self-discovery. In a world that often encourages conformity, turning your focus inward allows you to connect with your authentic self. Your unique values, your innate strengths, your genuine passions, and your deeply held principles. The ancient maxim, "Know thyself," is a call to this very exploration. When you peel away the layers of external expectations and societal conditioning, what do you find at your core? What truly matters to you, not to your parents, your peers, or your social media followers? What activities make you feel alive and aligned? What principles are non-negotiable for you? This process of introspection, of listening to your own inner voice, is crucial for building a life that feels genuine and meaningful. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Dig deep within yourself, for there is a fountain of goodness ever ready to flow if you will keep digging." This fountain of goodness includes your unique potential and the purpose that resonates with your truest self. When your actions and choices are aligned with this authentic core, you experience a sense of coherence and integrity. Your life begins to feel less like a performance and more like a genuine expression of who you are. This doesn't mean you'll suddenly discover a grand, singular purpose handed down from on high. More often, it's about understanding the kind of person you want to be and the values you want to embody in your daily life, in your work, in your relationships. This intrinsic sense of purpose, cultivated from within, is far more resilient and fulfilling than any externally defined goal. It becomes the why that fuels your actions and gives meaning to your efforts. 4. The power of acceptance. Finally, a crucial pillar in building unshakable inner strength, deeply valued by the Stoics, is the profound practice of embracing reality as it unfolds. This isn't about passive resignation or giving up. Rather, it's an active, courageous acceptance of what is, particularly those things that lie outside our complete ability to change. Much of our inner turmoil arises not from events themselves, but from our resistance to them, from our wishing that things were different than they are. When you turn your focus inward to cultivate acceptance, you begin to work with life, rather than constantly struggling against its current. This means acknowledging setbacks without letting them define you, facing difficulties with a clear-eyed view, and understanding that the nature of existence includes change, challenge, and impermanence. As Epictetus wisely taught, "Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life." This practice of acceptance frees up enormous amounts of mental and emotional energy that would otherwise be consumed by frustration, resentment, or denial. Instead of battling what you cannot alter, you can redirect that energy towards your own responses, your own growth, and the aspects of the situation where you can make a difference. It fosters a deep sense of peace, not because the world has become perfect, but because you have ceased to demand that it conform to your every desire. This acceptance is a hallmark of true inner strength, allowing you to remain centered and resourceful even when faced with the unexpected or the undesirable. When you commit to this inward orientation, focusing on cultivating virtue, mastering your judgments, and connecting with your authentic self, the transformation is not confined to your inner world. It inevitably ripples outward, changing how you experience and interact with everything around you. You will likely find a deepening sense of inner peace and resilience. By anchoring your well-being in your character and your reasoned responses, rather than in the unpredictable flux of external circumstances, you develop a calm stability. Challenges will still arise, but your capacity to meet them with equanimity and fortitude will be greatly enhanced. You become less reactive, less easily disturbed. Your decision-making becomes clearer and more principled. When you are guided by an internal compass of virtue and self-awareness, you are less likely to be swayed by fleeting desires, peer pressure, or fear. You make choices that are not only more effective in the long run, but also more aligned with your deepest values, leading to fewer regrets and a greater sense of integrity. Paradoxically, by focusing on yourself in this profound way, your relationships often improve. When you are not seeking validation or trying to control others, when you approach interactions from a place of inner security and authenticity, you connect with people on a deeper, more genuine level. You become a better listener, a more compassionate friend, a more reliable partner, because your interactions are not driven by neediness, but by a desire for genuine connection and mutual respect. As Seneca noted, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. A well-ordered inner self is better equipped to offer that kindness. You will experience a more authentic and sustainable form of happiness. This isn't the fleeting excitement of external achievements, but a deeper contentment that arises from living a life of purpose, integrity, and self-mastery. It's the quiet joy of knowing you are striving to be the best version of yourself, regardless of external rewards. Ultimately, turning your focus inward empowers you to move from being a passive victim of circumstance to an active author of your own life experience. You realize that while you cannot always choose the script, you have immense power in how you interpret your role and deliver your lines. To illustrate this timeless truth, that true reward and transformation come from diligent focus on what lies within our own efforts and domain, let us recall the ancient wisdom encapsulated in one of Aesop's fables, The farmer and his sons. There was once a farmer who, sensing his life was drawing to a close, gathered his sons around his bedside. He wanted to impart one final crucial piece of wisdom to ensure they would continue to thrive after he was gone. "My sons," he said, his voice weak but earnest, "I am leaving you, but I have not left you without inheritance. There is a great treasure hidden somewhere in our vineyard. If you search for it diligently, you will surely find it." Believing their father had buried a chest of gold or precious jewels, the sons waited only until he had passed before they set to work. With great energy and determination, they took up their spades and mattocks and turned over every single inch of soil in the vineyard. They dug deep around every vine, searched between every row, and left no clod of earth unturned. They meticulously combed through the entire estate, their minds fixed on the promise of hidden riches. However, despite their exhaustive efforts, they found no hidden chest, no gold, no jewels. Disappointed and weary, they began to think their father had perhaps been mistaken, or that his mind had wandered in his final days. But when the season for harvest arrived, something remarkable happened. The vineyard, having been so thoroughly and deeply tilled by the sons in their search for the supposed treasure, produced an unprecedentedly abundant crop of grapes. The vines were heavier with fruit than anyone in the village could remember. Their diligent labor, though aimed at finding an external treasure, had instead cultivated the inherent richness of the land itself. It was then that the sons understood their father's true meaning. The treasure was not a hidden cache of gold, but the reward that came from their own focused effort, their hard work, and their dedicated cultivation of what was already theirs. By turning their full attention and energy to the vineyard, their own domain, they had unearthed a far more valuable and sustainable fortune than any buried chest could have offered. So too may we learn that the greatest treasures in life are often not found in some distant external pursuit, but are cultivated from within through our own focused efforts, our dedication to self-improvement, and the diligent tending of our own inner landscape. For it is there, in the consistent cultivation of our own character and capabilities, that the truest and most lasting transformations take root and blossom, yielding a harvest far richer than we might initially imagine. This journey inward, this commitment to tilling the soil of your own soul, is not a path of deprivation, but one of profound enrichment. It is the conscious choice to invest in the one thing that will be with you through every triumph and every trial: yourself. By nurturing your virtues, mastering your judgments, and connecting with your authentic core, you are not merely improving yourself in isolation, you are enhancing your capacity to engage with the world from a place of strength, wisdom, and genuine compassion. The world doesn't need more people chasing fleeting external validations. It needs more individuals anchored in their own integrity, radiating the quiet confidence that comes from true self-possession.